Throw it down, big man.
Welcome everybody back to the Throw It Down Big Fella podcast. I am your host, Greg Rufus. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. So basically, you guys, of course, we're going to break down all the stuff that happened locally, national headlines. The Memphis Tigers are in action for the women's basketball and men's basketball. The Memphis Tigers football team, the Memphis Grizzlies, they have games coming up this week, and also Tennessee Titans as well. And also we get to the national headlines. The Cleveland Cavaliers are still undefeated. Who's going to beat this team? I mean, maybe possibly the Boston Celtics tonight. They play each other in the NBA Cup as that continues to go on. And the Kansas City Chiefs suffer their first loss of the season. What does this mean? Josh Allen, is he leading candidate for MVP? We'll get into all that. And then my final thoughts, of course, the fight that was just there. I mean, the Friday night fight, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. I'm gonna break all that down and just an epic fail. Just an epic fail. I'm gonna get into all that. But first, you guys, please subscribe to this podcast at Throw It Down Big Fella on YouTube and follow on Instagram at Throw It Down Big Fella Pod. I can't stress this enough, you guys. Changes are coming. Studio coming in, looking great, you guys. It's gonna be a wonderful, wonderful time. And I'm just excited for you guys to be in this experience. And of course, the holidays are coming up. Special stuff coming for this wonderful podcast. So please stay tuned for that. All right. Let's get into it on this wonderful episode. Let's talk about all the headlines that's going on. Of course, we're going to start locally with the Memphis Grizzlies. They are in NBA Cup play tonight. They play the Denver Nuggets. I do not believe Jokic will play in this game. But before that, the recap Sunday, they did defeat the Denver Nuggets here in Memphis. Just a wonderful performance by the team. Currently, right now, they are, let me pull this up. Currently, they're 8-6. Like I said, their last game, they beat the Denver Nuggets. Let me get the correct score on here. It was 105-90. Leading scorer, of course, was Jaren Jackson Jr. He had 20 points, along with, he had a monster game too, I want to say. Well, sort of. He had 20 points, 6 rebounds. Desmond Bane had a double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds. And Scottie Pippen had 10 points, shipped in with 10 points. Jaden Wells, 15 points, 2 of 5 from 3, 6 for 15 shooting. Just an overall great team effort. Jaden Huff, the new Memphis Grizzly, 10 points as well. Like I said, there was no joker in this game. Jamal Murray was very, very, very subdued game. 6 for 15 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3. And they play again tonight. And injury report wise, like I said, it's a game time decision now. And Eric Gordon is still out. Zach Edey, of course, there is some bad news. Zach Edey is out. He is injured. Marcus Smart's a game time decision. John Morant's out. Cam Spencer's out. And of course, Gigi is out. Friday and also Friday, they also lost. The Grizzlies lost to Golden State 123-118. Very suspicious play with Draymond Green. If you guys didn't miss that, it was a tripping foul that Draymond Green hit on Zach Edey. Of course, they upgraded to a flagrant 1. Draymond Green was actually ejected from the game. He had picked up 2 flagrant fouls. He was ejected from the game. Again, we mentioned this on previous podcasts, me and my boy Darren, like, when is Draymond Green gonna realize like your best asset is just to be on the court? You gotta be on the court, Dre. Like your toughness, your physicality, I get all that. But man, you gotta be on the court. And for him to again pick up these fouls and these unnecessary tripping calls, like it's just too much, Dre. And so I don't want this to be a continuing trend. I like his toughness, like his fearlessness. Like I said, he's got to do better, and he's got to be on the court for this Warriors team. I mean, they're doing great right now, but you have Dre on the team, and he's on the court. Anything is possible with this team. So Dre just again, great competitor, one of the great competitors in the NBA. You got to be on the court for your team in order for them to succeed. And of course, Grizzlies lost to the Lakers 128 to 123 last week. LeBron James at that point had three straight triple doubles. He had another triple double against the Spurs that Friday. Then he didn't have it on Saturday, but the Lakers are rolling. I'm gonna get to them a little later as well. So Grizzlies, like I said, they got the Nuggets this coming up week. Well, back to back. I'm sorry, it's today the Nuggets. Tomorrow, Philadelphia. Philadelphia is on a free fall right now, 2-11. Got to take advantage of the opportunity that they have right now. They're not meshing right now. So let's see how that plays out tomorrow. And they play at Chicago. They play at Chicago Wednesday. I'm sorry, Saturday, the 23rd, and they come back home, they play the Timberwolves, I'm sorry, the Trailblazers on Monday, next Monday, and Detroit the day before Thanksgiving, and then Friday they continue group play, NBA Cup group play. They play the New Orleans Pelicans. So some favorable games coming up for the Grizzlies. Let's see how they respond to that, and let's see what they're about, and hopefully Ja comes back. Zach Edey's injury is not as serious as people think, and see how they respond moving forward. All right, let's get to the Memphis Tigers men basketball team. They defeated Ohio 94 to 70 this past Friday. Of course, Haggard again dominated, had 23 points. Just he's really, really good, and he's probably fighting for that American Conference Player of the Year. He's really good. Team is rolling. They had a 3-point Bernard in that game last Friday. So let's just see how they respond moving forward. Of course, they before they get to the big tournament, the Maui Invitational, they play San Francisco at San Francisco Thursday. Then let's get to the Maui Invitational. They play UConn that Monday. I will definitely be watching. This is the time of the week uh, where the conference tournaments get started. College basketball tournaments get started. Great tournament games, of course. The Maui, other over the seas tournaments that we get to watch. So I'm excited to watch this one. And of course, if they win Monday, they play other games. But this UConn game, the defending champion UConn Memphis, must see watch. I will definitely tune into that. So far so good for the Memphis Tigers men's basketball team. On the other side, the Memphis Tigers women's team, they lost to Ball State 95 to 66. Ball State's undefeated, so no. I mean, they tried their best, but Ball State's really good. Allie Becky led Ball State with 22 points, and Allie Eaton for the Memphis women's team, Memphis Tigers women's team at 18 points. Their next two games are at home. They play Southeast Louisiana, SC Louisiana, I'm sorry, tonight, and Murray State on Saturday. Both games will be ESPN Plus, and they will be at the Fieldhouse. So go Tigers, go. The Memphis Tigers football team, they defeated UAB this past Saturday for the Bones Trophy. I think that's how you say the Bones Trophy, but that was their last home game of the regular season. It was Seth Hennigan's last game as a football pro. You could tell that Tigers coach was very emotional about it. This was his last home game for them. Of course, they play I think they play. I'm sorry. Not next week. Yeah, the 28th. This Thanksgiving. That's their next home game, and it's Tulane. It's their last game. Tulane is ranked number 25. So let's see what it's about. Let's see what's possible. Of course, they beat Tulane. That would be a marquee win. They would probably be in the American Conference Championship game. So let's just see, like I said, how this all plays out. But I'm excited to see how the Memphis Tigers football team will respond and how they will end the season. So again, go Tigers, go for the football team and also the men's basketball team. If you guys want to leave any comments about uh, what you guys saw. If you guys saw any of the great Memphis Tigers team do anything this past week, let me know what you guys think. Are contention for the American Conference in football? Your feelings about them playing UConn, the men's basketball team, the women's team. They got a couple home games coming up. Memphis Grizzlies. Can they continue this rolling without John Morant and now Zach Edey? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and I will gladly respond to it. And I just love you guys' feedback. So please stay tuned. Okay, let's now get into the major national sports headlines. And we're going to start again with the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are rolling. The Cleveland Cavaliers are still undefeated. It is crazy. It's 16 and 0. I think, the Warriors started off 20, 22, 23 and all. Like they got some way to go. But tonight, I'm sorry, 15-0. Tonight, they play the Boston Celtics. One of my games to watch tonight is NBA Cup. Boston is actually a 5.5 point favorite. The total is 234 and a half. I mean, let's see. Let's see if the Cleveland Cavaliers have it in them to beat probably still the defending NBA champions, possibly still the favorites to go to the NBA championship. Like I said, let's see. They after this game, they have a back-to-back. Actually, they play the Pelicans back in Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta next week, and the Atlanta Hawks. So after this game, they could probably go 19 and 0. So I mean, you knew they would have to play the Celtics at one point, and of course, last year they were in the playoffs. They played them. Donovan Mitchell got hurt, and eventually that faltered to them to losing in 5 games without Donovan Mitchell. So they just play the Cavaliers play so team ball. Darius Garland, all the talk about him not being on the team. Do they need to trade him? Do they need to trade Evan Mobley? Do they need to make some type of adjustments moving forward? They kept the team as stacked, and so let's see how they respond and how they play tonight. One of my marquee games of the week. Now, of course, Dad and the Nuggets and Grizzlies game they played tonight. The Utah Jazz are at home against the LA Lakers. They've won 5 in a row. They're rolling. LeBron James is playing at an all-time high level. So that'd be very interesting to see how they respond to that as well. Other games I'm looking forward to this week, and I'm just scrolling along over here. Besides the marquee game tonight, Cleveland and Boston. I was gonna say Golden State and Pelicans. The Pelicans have literally nobody playing. NBA Cup play Friday night, Dallas and the Denver Nuggets. That's Friday night game on ESPN, 9 o'clock. That should be a very, very, very good game. Even I hope Joker is back. They really, really, really miss him. And so and also that Saturday, the day after, Nuggets Lakers rematch of that epic first round series that was last year, went 5 games. Jamal Murray hit 2 game winning shots. Just unbelievable series, probably the best series of the playoffs last year, one of the best series of the playoffs last year. So that should be interesting to watch. Minnesota plays Boston Sunday, the 24th. Anytime you see Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum playing against each other, it's going to be marquee, and everybody should want to watch that. If I'm missing anything else, Bucks Heat. That's next Tuesday, November 26th, and Lakers Suns following up NBA World Cup play that following Tuesday. So a lot of good games coming up this week. Of course, you have the holiday. The following week, you have Thanksgiving. So, like I said, those are some of the marquee NBA games going on this week. Let me know what you guys think. What are you looking forward to? Do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers have a shot to beat the Boston Celtics? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about all things NBA. All right, let's get into NFL. NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs have their first loss of the season. They lost to the Buffalo Bills 30-21. Josh Allen was spectacular. He had the epic play fourth down. They were thinking about going for three to late in the game to make it a 5 point lead, but they actually went for it. Sean McDermott and them, they actually went for it on 4th and 2. They got it. It was actually a touchdown, and that propelled the Buffalo Bills to win that game 30-21, getting the Chiefs their first loss of the season. My reaction is, of course, like all other media, like Buffalo Bills can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. They always do this. They always find a way to just win those type of games. We get all that. Can they do it in the playoffs? Is like the ultimate number one question. Can they sustain all this and get to the playoffs? There are some holes in this Kansas City Chiefs team. I wouldn't be too concerned if I'm a Chiefs fan. It's like we're on the road, we figured things out. You hate to lose. You want to go undefeated. You want to have the three-peat. But what's more important? Would you rather be undefeated or would you rather go for three-peat? The only thing that no other team has ever done, go for three-peat, go for back-to-back championships. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs are fine. I think they'll figure things out moving forward. Patrick Mahomes has got to play better. That type of game, though, Patrick Mahomes needs to find a way to win. I mean, your defense can't really stop everybody every day of the week. You have to find a way to muster it all in. And the Buffalo Bills were not 100% healthy. Amari Cooper just got back there. They still have Keon Coleman. James Cook didn't really do all that much. He had a touchdown run. But the Chiefs defense they were in it the whole game. And of course, I know Patrick Mahomes is not having one of those seasons. He'll find a way. He's one of the greats of all time. He will find a way to get things done. And I'm not really concerned about the play. It's, everybody else. Everybody else getting involved. Travis Kelce. I wish Travis Kelce would get more involved. He needs to get more involved in the offense. I'm sure he'll find a way too. He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. And it doesn't, it kind of helps, Kansas City Chiefs to get it right for next week because their next week opponent is the Carolina Panthers, and we know Carolina Panthers are not that great of a team. No disrespect to them, but if this was a get right moment for the Kansas City Chiefs, they got a great week to get right to play the Carolina Panthers to get the kinks out and figure things how they're going to moving forward. But I'm not really concerned about their loss. I think this will probably, if anything, probably motivate them to be better moving forward, and they'll just keep it rolling. So Buffalo Bills are I think they're one of two teams that could beat them. Between them, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh, I think it's a three-legged horse who can possibly beat them. But Buffalo, they look good. Josh Allen, if it was any year he could be MVP, has to be the year. And it was a must-win for Josh Allen. Don't get it twisted. Josh Allen needed to win that game Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. He did. He delivered like he was supposed to do. Now can you deliver in the postseason where all the Buffalo Bill fans are like, it's time. It's time. Let's go back to the glory years in the 90s where we went to 3 straight Super Bowls, but finally let's get to one. Let's win one. If there's anyone you could cheer for to get a championship, it's a couple. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, like they're in that discussion. So Buffalo Bills shout them out. They were supposed to win. They took care of business and they gave Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season. Another good game. Of course, these games are always good. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, Ravens and Steelers. It was like a backyard brawl, a fight, a mud fight, a sling fight. And the Steelers won 18-16, did not score a touchdown in this game. That's absolutely crazy. Russell Wilson made a boneheaded interception. You would think would probably cost them the game, but Lamar Jackson, I mean, I hate to say that one team has Lamar Jackson's number besides maybe Kansas City, but the Pittsburgh Steelers clearly have his number. He just did not look himself. He looked uncomfortable all night, threw a pick that really wasn't necessarily his fault. It was a great defensive play by the linebacker for Pittsburgh, Wilson, I believe is the name. He just made an unbelievable play, and they were took the ball out of Justin Steele's hand, just snatched it out of him. The Pittsburgh Steelers, what their motto is: great defense, find a way to mutter up the game and just make enough plays to win. that's the recipe for a team that can win a Super Bowl. Offensively, do you wish that they had more power? Yes, but you know how it is in the playoff time when it gets cold, when there's bad weather, when you have a strong defense that can hold, it can lead you to a Super Bowl. So, and Russell Wilson, just avoid Russell Wilson getting those bad turnovers. The Pittsburgh Steelers can go to the Super Bowl. I mean, I am completely shocked. I thought this team would be maybe third or fourth in the division. I didn't predict them to get their win total. I think their win total was like 7. Um, they completely shocked me. But it's Mike Tomlin, and I actually said that John Harbaugh was better than Mike Tomlin. I like to apologize for that remark that I made. I think Mike Tomlin on one score games is just lights out. And it's just in order to get Pittsburgh, you gotta put some points on the board and get them out of the game real quick before. But if it's a one score game, my money's on Mike Tomlin. So Mike Tomlin, I apologize. You are the best coach in that division, hands down. John Harbaugh is good too, but it seems like Mike Tomlin has his numbers. So what does this mean exactly for Baltimore and well, for Baltimore and Pittsburgh? Baltimore, back to the drawing board. I feel like Derrick Henry didn't get the ball enough. In fact, he fumbled on his first carry. It was like the first time in like 500 carries that he fumbled. Not all his fault, but I just think you got to get back to your bread and butter. That's Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. A little bit of more Zay Flowers. Deontay Johnson got added from Carolina to Baltimore. Probably get him more involved. I'm not necessarily concerned with Baltimore. It's just Lamar Jackson has to play better, of course, and he has to get the monkey off his back. Just Pittsburgh and Kansas City. What do you do in the playoffs? That's just a question about all these young quarterbacks. What do you do in the playoffs? The Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Jalen Hurts. Like, what do you do come playoff time? Are you ready for this moment? So it'd be interesting to see how they respond to this moving forward. I believe their next, I think they have a bye week coming up. Let me check and see. They do have a bye week. Yes. No, I'm sorry. They have their Monday night game against the Chargers. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about weekend. They play the Chargers, the Harbaugh Bowl, Jim versus John. This should be a very interesting game. But I'm not really worried about Baltimore. They're still top. They're still going to be in the playoffs, of course. But you gotta you got to find a way to beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is your bugaboo. And as for Pittsburgh, like I said, continue to do what you're doing. Russell Wilson, not to make any boneheaded decisions that he made before, and everything will be all right. Um, let me also talk about the Eagles beating the Commanders Thursday night football game, 26-18. It was very sluggish. Let me just say from Eagles perspective, very sluggish the first 3 quarters, very physical, like I thought it would be. Saquon Barkley just is it's just a breath of fresh air. It's like a new identity with the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley is running and is being physical with this team. And you need this, like I said, running game and a good defense. And the Philadelphia Eagles defense is getting better and better and better each week. I'm glad that the media does not talk about the Eagles like that, like they're one of the top teams. They are. I mean, they're 8-2, but the Detroit Lions are really, really, really good. They are clicking on all cylinders, and they are the scariest team in the NFL. But I mean, you got to find a way to slow them down. But Detroit, they should be the favorites. But the fact that the Eagles are not being mentioned with the Detroit Lions, I like it. Just keep us under the radar, keep the hush hush around them. But I just Detroit is rolling right now. Of course, they beat the Jaguars 52-6. At some point, I think Doug Peterson will get fired. I don't know if it will be this week, next week, end of the season, probably. But he's definitely lost the team. No Trevor Lawrence, of course. Yeah, he's definitely lost the team. So it'd be interesting to see how that situation plays out. But Detroit took care of their business. They are rolling and clicking on all cylinders. My depressed start again with the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, my lord. Where do we I mean, where do you go from here for the New York Jets? I mean, the 3-8 probably won't make the playoffs now. You could probably kiss that dream goodbye. Anthony Richardson came back. He's back in the starting lineup, came back for Joe Flacco and won. They're 5-6. They could possibly make some type of push to get to the playoffs, I don't know. But the fact that they can't, the Jets just, I, we could probably get to a later discussion about how the Jets problems and all, but they did it to themselves, firing their coach, bringing in Devontae Adams, who's not really been that active. It's just scary times for the Jets, and you just, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here, what the problem, what it's going to be, but um, one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL, hands down. One of the most disappointing teams in the NFL is the New York Jets, and they did it to themselves. So shout out to the New York Jets for that. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Tennessee Titans 23-13. Minnesota still not sold, but their defense is just so good. Can't take that away from them. Their defense is really good. Sam Darnold, they find a way to win. They're 8-2. The Titans 2-8. Just getting ready for the next year. They play the Houston Texans this coming up Sunday. Good luck to them on that. I want to give a shout out though to Will Levis. I'm gonna give him a shout out on this. Has the longest touchdown throw since like 2022, 98 yards to Nikita West Keenan, like the receiver. He's very good. They got a 98-yard touchdown reception. So shout out to Will Levis, even though you still need to do some work, young man. You still need to do some work, but I'm gonna give you credit on that long touchdown throw. The Miami Dolphins beat the Las Vegas Raiders 34-19. They're rolling. I mean, the Miami, they've won two in a row. They're 4-6. Let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do. They have a big Thanksgiving game coming up against the Green Bay Packers. I will definitely be tuning in to that. So let's see if they can continue rolling. The Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Wow. Just when you thought when the Kansas City Chiefs beat Denver on a blocked field goal, ain't no way it's gonna happen back to back. You'll be wrong. Green Bay blocked a potential kick from Chaos, the kicker from Chicago. Blocked it. They found they were driving down the field. Caleb Williams. I think their soul is just gone from this point. They're 4-6. Can they get it? Can they turn it around? I don't know. They played Minnesota this week. Tough, tough, tough. They played Minnesota and Detroit back to back. That's going to be tough. But if they can find a way to win, both of them 6-6, who knows? But they have some type of life in this game. I just wish they would have went for the touchdown instead of just the field goal. Just poor management from the coach to run instead of trying to throw into it. So interesting to see how that plays out for them. Here's another shocker, another disappointed. The Atlanta Falcons 38-6. 38-6. Just horrible. Like I want to give Bo Nix his credit. He really had a good game. I was impressed with Bo Nix. But depressed as a whole, the Atlanta Falcons. Like, I understand that you guys, I mean, it's a tough environment playing down in Denver. Shout out to my boy Darren's team. They're 6-5, I get it, but to just score only 6 points, it was crazy. I thought it would be a closer game. I did not think Bo Nix would put up that much. They could have put up 50 points in that game. They could have. But Bo Nix, he could be off. He could be in the. It's between him and Jalen Daniels. Um, I would give a slight edge to Jalen Daniels, but these next couple weeks could really turn around. I mean, if the Washington Commanders go another way and Denver keeps rising, Bo Nix could be the Rookie of the Year. And it's crazy to say that for the first two or 3 weeks of the season. I'm like, Bo Nix doesn't really have it. Maybe next year you could, get better and all. No, he's getting better and better and better. He's putting the work in like many other young rookie quarterbacks need to do, put the work in, and he's getting really good at it. So shout out to Bo Nix for putting that work in and being dedicated in your work and field, and it's showing off. You're actually playing at a very high level. So shout out to Bo Nix and Denver Broncos. They're rolling. They're rolling right now. Seattle defeated 49ers 20-17. The Super Bowl hangover is real. It's there. It is sickness that you can't explain. You cannot explain. When you get to the Super Bowl and you lose, you just lose some type of edge. You just lose all types of momentum. I don't know what it is, but the 49ers are better than this. And I know they didn't have George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey's getting back in form, and Brock Purdy has a sore shoulder right now. So it's no telling if it's going to affect him for their next game. But man, this is I don't know. I'm gonna have to get on the phone with my boy Marcus Hunter, huge 49ers fan, talk about what's really going on. Of course, the Debo incident that happened weeks before when punching his teammate or slapped his teammate, whatever you want to call it. There's just cracks in this team. And I hope they can figure out really quick because, like I said, their next couple games they got are very, 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 very tough. Mentioned the Bills Chiefs game, the Sunday night football game, the LA Chargers and Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are the best, worst team I've ever seen my entire life. Their losses are so like they're just they make you shake in fear because they're just so close. Joe Burrow is playing the best football he's probably ever played since LSU that I've seen. He's playing lights out, and they still find a way to lose. Jamal Chase is playing. I've never seen a better 1-2 combo like I've seen with these two, and they still find a way to lose. Still find a way to lose. I think if this was the old LA Chargers, the Chargers with Phillip Rivers, or maybe a couple years ago, when they lost that major playoff game to Jacksonville, they were up like 20 something points. They would have probably lost this game. But shout out to John Harbaugh. I'm sorry, Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry. Jim Harbaugh has got these folks tougher, stronger, and mentally able to overcome because they were up by like 20, what was it, 27-6 or 24-6. They were up big. Cincinnati made their run, and of course, the LA Chargers found a way to win the game on a touchdown by J.K. Dobbins. There's just their toughness and their physicality has gotten them far, and I was wrong on the Chargers. The Chargers are, I believe, a playoff team. I believe that they will probably get in. I mean, it's just tough. The AFC West, they could probably get three teams. I don't know. Of course, you have Kansas City is going to be there, of course. The Chargers are going to be there. The Broncos are going to be there. They're in a fight for the playoffs. So it'd be interesting to see who gets that second spot. But man, shout out to the LA Chargers for finding a way to win that game. And the Monday Night Football game, Houston and Dallas. What's left for the Dallas Cowboys? 34-10. Houston won. Parts of metal came flying down Texas, the AT&T Stadium, which kind of symbolizes their season as a whole. Cooper Rush threw the ball 50 times, I want to say. I mean, they're just going through the motions right now, trying to get top five pick. We get it. Trey Lance, I wish you'd get more playing time, but this is who they are right now. And it's just one of those years. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, might be next year, the year after, the Cowboys are going to stumble." No, it's just one of those years. You get one of these horrible years and you bounce back. Injuries, when the injury bug bites you, you can easily come back from that the following year, and that's what's happening. Dak's out. Ferguson, the tight end, got out. Other defensive players, Michael Parsons missed time. He's back. So it's just one of those years for the Cowboys. But best believe Mike McCarthy will be fired at the end of the season, if not sooner rather than later. And it's no telling what I think they should probably go. I personally, and this is my opinion, I personally think they should go after Bill Belichick. If they don't get Bill Belichick, you get Mike Vrabel. You get a defensive core guy that can get to these folks and tell them, look, you have a star on your helmet. You get all that. You're the Dallas Cowboys. We get all that. Let's bring back some toughness to them, and they'll be okay. I'm not thinking like, oh, they're just gonna suck for the next 2 or 3 years. No, it's just one of those bad years the Cowboys have, and they'll figure it out next year. So, shout out to Houston. Nico Collins is back. Maybe this will kickstart them moving forward for the rest of the season. All right, let me talk about some marquee games NFL this week. Thursday night football game, kind of a doozer, boring game. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Jameis Winston experience, yeah. I think Pittsburgh probably get that one. Not really gonna go for far fetching to that. Some bad games in the noon slate. I'm not gonna hold it even further longer. The Detroit Indianapolis game is interesting though. Indianapolis needs to win. They're 5-6. They get this, they're 6-6. Detroit's a 7.5 point favorite. 50.5 is the total for this game. Very, very, very interesting how that might play out. Minnesota, Chicago. Uh, Minnesota's a 3.5 point favorite. Chicago's at home. Chicago needs this win too. And Minnesota, like I said, offensively, they got it and they really don't. So can Chicago find a way? These next two games, they can get 6-6. Hey, anything can happen. But um, let's just see how that plays out. The Cowboys play the Commanders. Nah. I mean, Jalen Daniels, can they bounce back? They're 10.5 point favorite. Totals 45.5. Uh, let's see. Let's see how Jalen Daniels responds after that loss that they had on Thursday night against my Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, Chiefs and Panthers, 11.5, -11.5, -11. I'm sorry, Kansas City. Tampa Bay and the Giants. Tommy DeVito is starting in place of I'm sorry, Daniel Jones. How do they respond? They're actually a 5.5 underdog in this game. So let's see how they respond. Patriots, Dolphins. Eh. The Miami's actually 7 point favorite. Like I said, they win this game and they play Green Bay on Thanksgiving. Um, that'd be interesting to see how that plays out. So I'm excited to see can Miami continue their win streak they have. Tennessee is at Houston. Texans -8.5. Okay. Houston should dominate that game, my honest opinion. Let's go to the later games. Broncos, Raiders. Denver is a 5.5 point favorite on the road at Las Vegas. Uh, like I said, I like what I see with Bo Nix. Can he continue it up when they go to Las Vegas? Probably the marquee game of the day, I would think. 49ers Packers is at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 2.5 point favorite. If George Kittle can come back, Brock Purdy can get rid of his little nagging injury soreness that he has against Jordan Love. Like I said, coming off that epic win, that blocked field goal win against Chicago, how do they respond? It should be a good game. It should be the marquee game of the day. Also, this game as well, Arizona, Seattle. Seattle is a 1 point favorite at Seattle. It's always tough to play at Seattle, 12th man. We get it. Uh, Currently, right now, Arizona Cardinals are leading the division. So if somehow, some way, Cardinals can lose this game, San Francisco wins their game, I believe they would be will they be tied? And I think the Cardinals have the edge because they beat them head to head. But in the NFC Wild West, and it's wild. Anything can happen. So that should be another great game. It seems like 3 o'clock games are the more interesting games coming up this week. Sunday night football game. My Philadelphia Eagles go down to the Rams to go down to LA and play the Rams. They are a 3 point favorite. 50.5 is the total. I think like defensively, I think we should. I really want to see how the defense responds against a great quarterback in Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and Nuka and Kyrie Williams. Can they slow down the Rams offense? If they slow down the Rams offense, muck it up, make this an ugly type of score game. They should possibly do it and give the ball to Saquon. And Jalen Hurts does not commit any turnovers. I think this would be a they can find a way to muck this game up and they can find a way to win. But it should be a good Sunday night football game. I'm intrigued to watch it. And Monday night, the Hardball Bowl, like I mentioned, Ravens and the LA Chargers, and Baltimore's a 3 point favorite. This should be very, very, very good. How does Baltimore respond to that after that loss against Pittsburgh? And can the Chargers keep momentum going after their win against Cincinnati Bengals? So, you guys, let me know, all NFL fans, let me know what you guys think about this week coming up. Any type of games that you're looking forward to, and how do you feel about the Chiefs getting their first loss of the season? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. All right, let's get into college football quickly. Colorado is rolling. They are rolling. They're just rolling, and they should probably be in the playoffs. So much for me thinking that Colorado is going to be in the Liberty Bowl. Then not going to probably happen. They're going to be in a very good bowl game or playoffs. They continue to find a way to win. Of course, they're one of my impressive teams. Impressed Texas going down to Arkansas, beating them 20-10. They don't like each other. Those two teams do not like each other, but Texas find a way to win that game. Penn State, Purdue. I mean, Penn State's just dominant. They're top 14 for a reason. LSU. Let me get into LSU and Florida. Florida defeating LSU 27-16. Brian Kelly needs to calm down. Like really needs to calm down. I don't know if you guys saw this on the sideline. Brian Kelly went off on a receiver for LSU. And you could verbatimly read his lips and say, "You think that you're better? You think you're good? Don't walk away from me, talk to me like that on camera." I always say this about coaches that want to get on there and just start talking to the players and think that they know everything and all, and talk to them like a little child. Everybody watches it all the time. There are cameras everywhere. Can you not do this in a locker room when nobody's watching? You probably could, but why do it and embarrass him and his family on national television? Do better, Brian Kelly. Do better. It's not his fault. I mean, it could be his fault, but there's a better way to do that instead of doing it on national television. But you chose to do that while cameras are rolling, everybody's watching. You chose to do that, and so I just wish these coaches would just think like, what's the purpose of me? Like, just think about the actions before. Think about the actions before you do it. I mean, just wait till you get to the locker room and do that. That's simple. It's just simple math. Players to coaches to coaches to players. Just do better. Do better. Brian Kelly, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. Oregon squeaked out against Wisconsin 16-13. Still undefeated, but they found a way to sneak out of there out of Wisconsin, win that game. And Georgia defeated UT 31-17. Carson Beck, all the criticism that he's had, he found a way to win at home against UT. I mean, very impressive. Very impressive. I'm not going to take that away from him. Very impressive at home, a very tough environment. But he found a way to win that game. So those are just some of the highlights from this past week of college football. Marquee games coming up this week. The big one, 11 a.m. on Fox, Indiana, Ohio State. Ohio State's a 13.5 point favorite. We're going to really see if Indiana is really that good of a team. Top five team, undefeated. I mean, if there was an opportunity to shock the world, do it right now. At the big house, at Ohio State, do it right now. If you're really about that, go to Ohio State and win that game. That should be a huge statement game for Indiana, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Um, Other games, Ole Miss goes to Florida. Ole Miss is a 10.5 point favorite. Uh, they should probably win, but it's Florida swamp. You just never know. You never know how that plays out. So if let's see how they respond to that. Colorado goes to Kansas. Every time Colorado's on, you got to tune in to watch how they play. They play at Kansas. They're 2.5 point favorite in that game. Army versus Notre Dame. It's a 6 o'clock game on NBC. Notre Dame's a 14 point favorite in that game. See how they respond to it. Alabama, Oklahoma night game on ABC. Alabama's a 14 point favorite. Total is 47.5. Oklahoma has had their problems all year. I fully expect Alabama to respond again as they always do. But let's just see. Something's going to happen. LSU, Vanderbilt, LSU 7.5 point favorite. Brian Kelly. I mean, after that embarrassment that happened last week at Florida, how do they respond against Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt's no slouch. So let's see how you respond. See how you respond. See if your players respond. And if you learned any lessons from that Florida loss. So those are some of the games I'm looking forward to college football wise. But please let me know what you guys are looking forward to college football. Colorado is still rising. Georgia's impressive win against UT, and of course the Memphis Tigers defeating UAB. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about all things college football. All right, you guys, finally, this is my final topic of this wonderful episode, the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Um, I am very disappointed in the fight itself. Let me start off with that. It was on Netflix. 60 million people watched it, but it was buffering. Like the streaming was really, really bad. It wasn't, and I thought it was just me, or some other people, but it was a lot of people that had the streaming issue. It was just bad. And Netflix, I guess it was just a test run because, of course, Netflix, they have the NFL games coming up. Beyonce's performing at halftime of the Houston Texans. Uh, I'm sorry, Baltimore Ravens Houston Texans game at Houston. She's performing at halftime. They better get it together before those two games. Of course, that and Raw's coming next year on Netflix, so they better get it together. But it was just bad streaming. I was behind maybe like a couple minutes, 2 3 minutes. It was just bad. The presentation itself, Mike Tyson looked like a 58-year-old man. And I know it's Mike Tyson. He's one of the baddest men in boxing history, one of the best fighters of all time. I have him in my top three. I have Muhammad Ali, I have Mike Tyson, and I have Floyd Mayweather. He's number two in my book. He's one of the best of all time. He's pound for pound one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen and witnessed in my life. And I would never want to take a right punch or uppercut from Mike Tyson. Never in my life. Never. But he looked 58 years old. He looked like a man. I remember his last, it was an exhibition match, if you guys don't remember this, against Roy Jones 4 years ago. During COVID, there was no audience. It was just him and Roy Jones fought. It was like, I think 8 rounds, same 2 minutes. He didn't look like the same back then. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, for this fight to come up, I'm like, that was 4 years ago. He was 54 at the time of that Roy Jones fight. He's 58 now. Do I really expect him to be better? Do I expect it to be, how do I think he's going to change from what I saw back then to now? Nothing's changed. He's just gotten older, and out of respect for Jake Paul was supposed to probably win and knock him out, but I really think Jake Paul just didn't want to knock him out. And I think and it's out of respect for how great Mike Tyson is, but I just I just hated the whole presentation of it. I hated that Jake Paul that it had to happen and that actually everybody had to witness it. The crazy thing is, like I said, Mike Tyson had a health scare back in June. It was supposed to be in July, this fight. And of course, if it was going to happen in July, nothing was going on in July except for baseball, NBA free agency. I guess training camp was going to start. Like it was a quiet July. They were going to put this in on a Friday or Saturday night at AT&T Stadium. So I really think if that happened then, like Mike Tyson didn't have the health scare and all that, people would just forgive and forget this. It wouldn't be such a big deal. The fact that it happened in November, everything going on, like there was like the whole thing that happened, the whole episode happened, it put more attention to it, that unnecessary attention that it probably should not have been. Therefore, you get this response, you get just people just feeling bamboozled and tricked. And I mean, in a way, it was bamboozled and tricked. I just wish Jake Paul, congratulations, Jake Paul. I don't want to take nothing away from what Jake Paul did, but I wish he would just fight real boxers and people his age and get into a real fight so we can really see how good Jake Paul can really be. But if Jake Paul's mission is it's just to get money, scam people away, just to fight because he just wants to, and never fights nobody his own is well, his own age and his own caliber and his own power. There's just no point in me watching anymore. I keep saying that, but it's like you would get I would have to watch Jake Paul if it's some gimmick like this. Or if he wants to fight Roy Jones or somebody else that's way beyond their prime. Like, if you want to fight a real boxer, real fighters, please do so. I will watch. The real boxing fan of me and several other real boxing fans will watch that. If the fact is that you don't want to fight real boxers because you're afraid that the audience will go down or you're not gonna get the money like you thought he was, you need to get that out your head right now, Jake. Fight people because you want to be that type of guy. You want to be the next great one. You got the money and all. You got the money. So now let's fight. Let's worry about getting to the ring with like real boxers that's on your level. That there are real boxers. I would pay to see that. I would love to see that. I would pay to see it. The fact that the 60 million people watch on Netflix, I bet half of them are not even boxing fans. They just do it because, oh, we know who Mike Tyson is and we know who Jake Paul is because of his past and all that. Let's just tune into it. It's on Netflix. You're gonna get attraction because it's Netflix. We get all that, but I just wish Jake Paul would fight real boxers and fight people that actually like it would be a great fight. And so again, I'm just disappointed at the whole entire thing. the best thing about that fight was actually the women's fight, Amanda Serrano and Kate Taylor. The fight before the women's fight, very, very good, controversial. Amanda got headbutted and got points deducted, but still found a way to lose. I would not mind seeing a third match with that. That probably warrants another a trilogy. So I wouldn't mind be mad at that. And the other fights before that, that was great. It was just this one. It was a Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and I just wish, for Mike Tyson's sake, you're an icon, you're a goat, but you need to sit down, Mike Tyson. I mean, the signs were there in June when you had the health scare and you lost the weight, you had the blood situation going on. You need to retire and do us all a favor, and we love you, Mike. You're an all-time great. I love you. It's time to let it go. It's time to move forward, and it's time for greener pastures laid ahead of you. Um, I just don't want to. I never want to see Mike Tyson in the ring ever again. I really, truly do not want to see it for his sanity. Because all I was worried about is Mike Tyson gonna get knocked out? Because he wasn't moving right. He kept biting at his boxing gloves. It just looked like it was a payday opportunity and stage, and it just didn't. It looked like a WWE match sometimes, and we know how WWE. I don't mind the fakeness. I don't mind the fakeness of WWE, or Boston or anything that's like fake, but don't make it seem so fake. If you're gonna fake it out. I get it, but don't make it seem so fake. And it just looked so fake and looked so scripted, and it makes me upset. But those are my final thoughts about it. I just wish Jake Paul get into the ring with a real boxer. And if you're really about that life, show us you're about that life and go in there and fight somebody that you have to do that. You have to get in the ring with somebody like a real boxer. So I'll be waiting for that moment. Maybe you get more busy 2025. Maybe it's the year Jake Paul 2025. I don't know. Maybe you're the rising star of the year. We don't know. But just do that for me and several other people out there in the world. Please, Jake Paul. Please, please, please. All right, you guys. Oh, that was a very loaded, heavy episode. But thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful experience. Please, you guys, please subscribe to my podcast on YouTube at Throw It Down Big Fella. And also follow on Instagram at Throw It Down Big Fella Pod. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys next week. Until then, peace out. And also happy birthday to my sister, by the way. Love you. See you next time.
Throw it down, big man.